Hey everybody, this is Craig Cottle, Director of Nature Reliance School, coming to you today to give you a class review for a recent tactical tracking class that I and Tracy Trimble from Nature Reliance School attended in Louisiana with TYR Group. John Hurth is the president of TYR Group, LLC out of Louisiana. I came to know John through his book, Combat Tracker. Fantastic book. I'll link to it here in the blog as well. Highly recommend John for classes. Basically what I want to do is give you a rundown, and I'll intersperse what I'm saying here with some pictures from class, okay? So the Combat Tracker class that Tracy Trimble and myself from Nature Reliance School were involved in is Combat Tracker class. He calls it tactical tracking, goes back and forth between calling it combat tracking, tactical tracking, or at least that's what he did in class. It was 5 days long, and basically we started at 7:30 every morning and we got done somewhere around 5 p.m. After that we were on our own, and so each day we went somewhere between 5 and 10 miles every day except Monday. But Tuesday through Friday we went 5 to 10 miles, closer to 10 probably than 5. So he says that in his description. You need to listen to it because we went it. Now I didn't feel, I'm not necessarily in shape. I didn't feel all that bad doing it. I can see if you had some physical impairments that it would be a pretty difficult class, but we had people like that in class, and they cowboyed up and got it done, which is fantastic. So great class. I absolutely loved it. So here's a breakdown of what we did. On day one, we looked in the spore pit. Basically, no, I'm sorry, he doesn't call it a spore pit, he calls it a track pit. There's a lot of words in the tracking community that go back and forth, but basically in the track pit, basically is a cordoned off area where you lay tracks and you see the people laying the tracks and you study how they're laid out. And so that's the beginning stage, is learning how to tracking. He also went over a lot of the vocabulary, and so we got a real good foundation in day one. On day two, what we started doing was we started directly applying what we had learned in the pit to field work. And so what we started doing each day is we started with basically a two-man tracking team, and they tracked everybody in class except the 2 men and the instructor. And so basically there was about 16, 17 of us in class total. Those 2 people are tracking everybody in class, and everybody in class is leaving a lot of sign. And so basically we started doing that on day 2, and then in essence that basically progressed throughout the class. So on day 2, not only did we do that, but we started talking about team formations, we talked about squad formations, we talked about small unit tactics. And I don't want to go into detail because quite frankly I want to pique your interest so you'll take the class, okay? So, but basically on day 3, 4, and 5, we went from a 2-man team to a 4-man team to a squad size team, until on the last day we were basically put in a scenario where we come into a camp, there's some information that we can gather from the track pit, and then we utilize the information we discover from the track pit to hunt some individuals down, which are other team members that we've been training with. And so we basically made that rotation throughout the class. And so basically what you're doing, in our class we had 3 teams, and one team is basically the rabbits, and they go out and they hide, and the other 2 teams work together to track those individuals down. And so basically the class is a whole lot of that. I've done a lot of classes in tracking. I've done a lot of tracking on my own, a tremendous amount. I track every day of my life, and I came away learning a whole lot of information from this class. John, again, is a very approachable individual. And again, there's some things I want to tell you because I want to pique your interest, and there's some things that I just can't tell you because if I tell you and you take the class, it just gives you too much information. I don't want you to have that information. But there's some things that he does every day that helps you get your eyes set to be able to see tracks. And I've never seen anybody do it that way, and I highly recommend his methodology for doing that. Is basically just get your eyes ready, get your mind ready to track. So we did that at the beginning of every day. Somewhere throughout the week, what we also did is, and I can't remember, it's like Thursday, we set up an aging stand, and we talked about feces and urine and fire, garbage, spit, dip balls, and any number of things that people might leave out on the ground to age it and determine how long somebody had been there, on top of aging tracks and sign and stuff of that nature. So the class was jam-packed full of really good people. Most of the people seemed like they already knew John when they got there. There was a few people like Tracy and myself who had never met John, and so I guess we're one of those guys now, because everybody got fairly close pretty quick, because you had to be a functioning team. And I'm not saying we're, you know, going to each other's house for Christmas or anything, but the guys and the gal that were in class, you had to learn how to function with each other. And so in that situation where you start getting stressed out, because at the end of the day, after you've been looking at a lot of tracks, it gets stressful. And John talked about some methods to defeat that, and basically just agree, hey, I've had too much, and you just get off track. But when you're in a group of people that you don't know and people are having trouble, it's easy to get stressed. And we talked about how to deal with those kind of problems too, and we worked through those problems as a group, as a high functioning group together. And again, that's just a testament to both John's ability to teach as well as his assistant instructors. Gary, Justin, and Ladd were his assistant instructors for this class. Those guys both offered comedic relief when they needed to, and they actually offered a tremendous amount of instruction and knowledge themselves. And so it was like having 4 trackers hanging out with you the whole time and walking through the woods with them and getting their feedback. So again, I highly recommend TYR Group if you want small unit tactics, tracking. He's going to do some reconnaissance classes. He's going to do he does some short-term weekend classes on tracking. He's going to do some longer-term, like 12-day combat tracking classes as well, so I highly recommend it. So I hope that helps you get some information. Again, I'm going to have links to John's school down below. Tracy and I will be going back. We might even host John here in Central Kentucky. So if you're in Central Kentucky and you follow Nature Reliance School and you're interested in that type of activity, then let us know, and it'll let us know that we got us a few people, and John might even come to us. So with that said, thanks for watching. If you found this video to be helpful, then please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And as always, I've done a gear review that goes along with this video as well, that goes through everything that I utilized in class. And so check that video out as well, and that'll give you some links to equipment and stuff of that nature. So with everything, if you have questions, just put them below, and we appreciate you watching. Come on, join in. Let's learn together.